and crime. And that methamphetamine, that crime comes from south of the border from narco terrorists. So we need to have those guys refocused on, unlike on citizens like us, and back focused again on the bad guys. Okay, narco terrorists and extremists. I can tell you that I was at the U.S. Attorney's Office and prosecuted an espionage case. I think we were the first office and first attorneys to prosecute somebody under new espionage rules. There are good rules that we need to do to keep bad guys out. This guy was down in Bakersfield selling secrets to people in Iraq that were then going to be utilized to hurt people like me and Mel. So we need to make sure that they're refocused and not refocused on the good guys. We need to make sure that there's checks and balances, things like FISA courts, those sort of things, to make sure that we don't infringe on our freedoms. IRS, I can just be real quick, simpler, right? Simpler, and then we need to hold people accountable. So like, Lerner, who is targeting Tea Party groups, needs to be prosecuted. That's what needs to happen, okay? Jim Costa voted against that, contempt. We need to vote in favor of that. 4 or 5, I don't know. Sorry, a lot of questions. 5, high-speed rail. Jim Costa wrote the enabling legislation for that. I've been a huge supporter of it back in the dates when he was in Assembly and Senate, and now in Congress. He was at a high-speed rail meeting not too long ago, a hearing with Mr. Seraphin's favorite congressman, Congressman Denham, and he asked Congressman Denham, if you don't support high-speed rail, what do you support? Well, or what's your plan, I think is what he said. Well, I got some plans, you know. All right, we got some plans. Maybe we use it for water storage. Maybe we use it to pay down our debt. Maybe we use it to fund our military. Maybe we use it to fund the VA, like we talked about earlier. So there's those sort of things that we need to do with that money. More important things. Child pornography, I'll be real quick. I was at the U.S. Attorney's Office. That's where they prosecute child pornography. We prosecute the most child pornography here in the Eastern District out of any other district. I'll tell you what, sir, this is where I disagree with you. I wish they would have brought a helicopter in for that guy, because if that guy was anywhere near my Addie Mae, he needed to be taken out and taken care of. I don't want that creep in our society. Bring them all. Bring them all.
Okay. Alan, you're going to be our last question.
I only two brief comments and a suggestion. The first observation, and I've been around for a while, and I can remember when Kiko was our senator, and the Republicans screwed up, and we end up with Alan Cranston for 50,000 years, okay? And we read in the papers today where the GOP, they has the leadership over here and they don't like us Tea Partiers, and we're screwing up again. Now, Joanne made one comment. Here's my suggestion. I think we're going to have great candidates here. I'm comfortable with all 4 of them. Whoever wins, I would hope, and this is my suggestion, that the other 3 or 4 Republicans get together and say, hey, we're going to pool our constituencies and we're going to elect whoever was nominated, because it's going to take a team effort to defeat Costa. Amen.
We're going to have closing statements now. We're running a little bit late, so Steve, if you'd like, we've got the mic there. We'll just go on down the line here with closing statements and make it about
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really do appreciate your time. Again, I appreciate Mel and Joanna for being with me at all these forums. It's good to have a representative from Mr. Teixeira's office up here today, so we can hear a little bit about what he has to say. And you're right. At least, like I said, I haven't really had an opportunity to debate or talk or been in a forum with Mr. Teixeira or Mr. Costa, but I can tell you that Mel and Joanna, there's not a whole lot of separation on the issues. And really what it boils down to is who's the best alternative and who has the best chance of beating the incumbent, Jim Costa, who's been there since 1978 for 35 years. And I would like to make the case, since I am an attorney, that I'd like to make the case that I am the best alternative to Jim Costa. And I started with this. I have the passion because I was born and raised here. I care passionately about the Valley. I have 3 kids that I'm trying to raise here. I care passionately about their future. You heard me about my baby girl, Addie Mae, who's 6. Nobody's going to mess with Addie Mae, okay? So I have the passion to do what's right. 2, I have the breadth and range of experience. I think this is critical. You know, this is not my first career. Like I mentioned, I've been an attorney. I've been in the military for 6 years. I've served overseas. I've now been in private practice. I'm a clear alternative to what a career politician, a person that's been in office forever. He's never had a job other than elected official or political office. So that's where I think that I prove I am the best alternative. I probably have the best range and depth of experience. I am ready to go. I'm ready to be your congressman. I hope you vote for me on June 3rd and then again in November. Thank you. And thank you. And real quick, I'm sorry, I interrupted my own applause. Dang it. I'll get that right. But visit me at www.craftforcongress.com. I also have a Facebook page, Steve Craft for Congress. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have. These things are very brief. I get cut off 15 seconds, but I want to make sure that I have an opportunity to address all your concerns. So please do that. Thank you.
Well, I also want to thank you for having us all here tonight. It's been pretty great, and thank you all for coming. It says a lot about who you are and what you care about. To take an entire evening and come down here and ask us questions, right? Most folks don't do that. So it does say that you care, right? You care about the direction the country's going in. You care about the direction that our local area is going in, and you care about who's going to represent you. We do have a lot of good candidates for this office, right? Hopefully, we're making it a tough decision for you on June 3rd. All right. When you look at who you're going to vote for, all I can say is I've spent my entire adult life serving our country, serving our Constitution. All right, I'm not a lawyer. I'm sure I can find a few in Washington, D.C. If I get there. But I have been a leader, right? I've been the guy that's been held accountable for the tough decisions. That's what you want from your congressman or congresswoman. You want someone that's going to be accountable for their decisions, someone that you can look in the eye and ask, why did you do this? Why didn't you do that? I will do that. In the Army, unlike some military branches, officers eat last. All right, so when you bring chow out to the field, your soldiers go through first. And it starts with the lowest ranking soldier, and it backs up, and NCOs eat, and at the very end, I would go through the line and pick up whatever scraps they'd left me. Leaders put their organization and their people ahead of themselves. They do what's best for their organization rather than what's best for themselves. I will continue to do that for you. Please visit my website, mellevy.com. Of course, I have a Facebook page as well. I'll be standing here afterwards. But I look forward to your questions. We answer to you. All right, that's what we're hoping to do here. So please feel free to contact me whenever you can or whenever you want to, whenever you have a question. All right, thank you.
Thanks again for showing up, everyone. It's really great to see so many people involved and actually being educated voters. I will do my best to help whoever is the winner, should it not be me. But unfortunately, I think one of the reasons why I polled so well is because people vote for who they can most relate to. And Fresno is unfortunately made up of a heavy Latina district. And so I honestly think that I swung a lot of what would be Democrat voters just because of where my great-grandmother came from by being a Garcia. And so I'm happily married. Mel's available, but Steve's happily married. So I can't really give him my name. So I don't know how to help with that other than just reach out and say what good people they are. I really, really believe that we can defeat him. I've been a real estate broker. I've worked for the state. I've gone to school all at the same time while building up my farm with my husband and our well drilling company. And I've done almost everything that a small business owner can do on their own. I do all my own taxes. I do all my own forms. If I don't know it, I can figure it out. I can learn. And why I'm running is because I didn't understand after law school and being a broker, a fiduciary is someone who's supposed to do something that's in their client's best interest. And in essence, that's what a civil servant is. That's what a statesman is. Your representative is supposed to be our fiduciary and do what's in our best interest. And when I looked up the ranks of my representatives and I got to Mr. Costa, I don't believe that he even knows what the word fiduciary means, let alone how to act in our best interest. And I decided that given my background and my knowledge and my skills, and my personal experiences, so I can help try to solve some of these problems to be practical solutions that will actually work and not need more legislation to correct, that I should stand up and join this fight. I'm definitely apologizing for not wearing a suit. It was 102 and I was still putting up a few last minute signs, and I live on a farm and drill wells with my husband, so my sleeves are rolled up and I've been working all day. That's just what I do. So I'd love to go to Congress and I will wear a suit, but I will roll up my sleeves and get to work anyways. So, you know, I've got cards out there with all my contact information. There's no question I'm afraid to answer. If I don't know the answer, I hope that you guys will help me find the answer, because you are who we're accountable to. I have a Facebook page, my website, Botella for Congress. I've got big signs still, a few left if anyone has a good spot for one. So thank you very much, and I hope you vote for Joanna Garcia Botello. Thanks.
Well, I'll just close by saying why I support Johnny. You know, Johnny's not a lawyer. Johnny didn't serve in the military. I don't think Johnny's ever worked for the government. Johnny's a third-generation farmer. He's a dairy farmer, farms, and he obviously grows his alfalfa. And he planted some pomegranate trees, 10,000 of them, about 2 years ago. He's a family man. He's a church man. He's principled, and he's true to those principles, and he's not afraid of it. Johnny has experience in Washington dealing with politicians because he's been on the leadership of the CDC, that's the California Dairy Council. He's also been with the Farmers Federation, and he goes to DC regularly to meet with these politicians, including Jimmy Costa. And Johnny, even though he's in the CDC, and a lot of times they like to cower to politicians, right, to get what they want. Johnny is willing to sit down with Jim Costa and talk man to man to lay out what he wants to see done in ag policy, and then run against them for Congress, right? So Johnny's willing to stand up to people like Jim Costa and other people in DC. I know Johnny will stay true to what he tells you as far as his principles. He's not going to waver on that, even if it means he doesn't get reelected. I'm not saying that these folks wouldn't either. They're all great folks. One of them has to replace Jim Costa. Because I know Johnny, I know that he would make a great congressman. Right? I know that he's been campaigning for the last 3 years now against Jim Costa and has traversed his district numerous times. Even though he's not here tonight, he's been campaigning in this district longer than anybody up on the stage. So Johnny knows the district. Johnny knows ag, which is very important to this district. Johnny is a small businessman. He also has a welding business. He signed both sides of a paycheck. He understands family life, business life, ag life, and Washington, D.C. So I think that's a great combination. I think any of the four candidates here or represented here tonight would make a fine congressperson. But in my opinion, I think Johnny would be the best one, and has, because of the momentum he's built up over the last 2 years, he's probably the person who's best able to take on Jim Costa. Thank you.
Well, I think we've got a pretty good representation here of who we can put up against Costa, who, by the way, I will just give you a programming note. 7 a.m. this Saturday morning, there will be a broadcast of an interview that Jim Costa did this past Tuesday and with Steve Covart at KYOS. So just before you tune in Tea Party Straight Talk, starring yours truly and Less Policy, you can tune in and listen to the interview. It's a half-hour interview at 7 a.m. with Jim Costa, and you can see just exactly where he's going in what direction or non-direction he's going in, okay? So take a look at that. But I think, let's give these folks one more round of applause. Great representation here. I think we're going to be served well.